Hi everyone, welcome to the first video of the Midland Belt Railroad. Hopefully this will be the first of many, and I should be putting this up on the YouTube channel, which is probably where you're watching it now, and hopefully the channel will grow from there. So I'm just basically going to start out with a little tour of the layout as it stands at the moment. We're currently looking at the second expansion to the layout, which is called the Handy Company. The Handy Company are basically like a large fabrication metal workers. Not quite sure exactly what they make, but I'm thinking like boilers, pipes, things like that. So this board here is, I believe it's 2 foot by a little over 2.5, I believe. So the industry is located on this section. Is the Handy Company's main heavy materials loading facility with the travelling crane and the unloading shed there. And then there's also over here there's Knowles Fuel and Merchantile, which is named after my grandfather, who was a miner for most of his career. So it seemed fitting that the coal facilities would be named after him. So what we've got here then is a trestle based on, sorry for the shaky camera, trestle based on a design that was shown in Model Railroad Road, I believe, a while ago. It's trestles made from the trestle bents or 5mm foam core board. The trestle itself is made from basswood strips and Clever Models textures. It's got multiple different grades of coal, the different bins, some cobblestones made from Slater's 7mm brick sheet for sort of O gauge, with a few bits and bobs in there for details. There's a sand pit for people buying construction sand. There's also a very small gravel pit in there, which it doesn't look like they've done much in terms of business for a while, as it's quite overgrown. The ramp down goes from their main sales building, which is at the top here, with the track scales, next to the grade crossing that goes over into the Trackside Cafe, which is a little scratch build made from Clever Models textures and cardstock with I think it's JL Innovative and Details West, I think, upgrade parts. There's a sort of derelict and overgrown garage here. The roof isn't attached at the moment, as I'm going to be putting some detail pieces inside. Just junk and overgrown stuff, maybe a cat or two sneaking around. Over here, which appears to have fallen over, there's a workbench and a barrel stand next to the main office building for the Handy Company yard. There's the Walthers travelling crane and Midland Belt 437 bringing in a chemical tank. So down here we've got the loading dock for Knowles. Essentially what happens here is all car loads into Knowles come onto the trestle, and you've got a little bridge and the walkways here for unloading boxcars. And then you've got the little warehouse building there that you use for storing any merchandise in there. Road vehicles come in between the back of the trestle, load up at the loading dock there, then reverse out. So the Handy Company, the main unloading shed is still a work in progress. It's quite messy at the minute, but I'll get there in the end. Plan on doing a fully detailed interior and putting a back on it so that exhibitions freight cars don't just roll off the edge of the world. The sign on the front of it is made from, I believe, like little individual wooden letters used on, I think it's like birthday card making or something along those lines. Along the back, I'm slowly building up the background flats to give a bit of texture to it. I've got the Clever Models factory building here and here. They're just sort of placed in there at the moment. I still got to mess around with those and make sure that I get the dimensions right, such like that. There's the American Pipe building, which I've used as an ultra low relief here. I may still cut out the loading doors and recess those a little bit. That's just 5mm foam board with the texture paper stuck straight over the top. Here, this piece here along the back is I think it's a small steel mill building that I've put together in various different ways to form a background flat. Here we've got a bit of a intense kit bash. Here it's mostly made from the Philadelphia warehouse flat kit that they produce, with quite a few additions and detailed parts on here. I actually managed to roll over the foam core on the building with an office chair, which is why I've added in green section here to disguise the damage. The idea is that they've expanded on the building over time, just to give themselves a little bit more room. I'm assuming up here, I'm imagining this bit's some sort of like machinery room or something along those lines. You got the fire escape down the front with the ladders, and then a pump house and tank here. The tank is a bobbin, like a thread bobbin, covered in texture papers. The pipework is just evergreen styrene, I think, again coated in texture papers, and the pump house building is just I think it's from the Clever Models steel utility shed, something like that. It's like a little lean-to that goes against that. I mean, as you can see, they are pretty flat. There's no real definition to them. But from back here, if you're looking from low down, it looks quite effective. See, what I have done for added depth, just at the back of here, is another top piece of American Pipe, but printed out in N scale, stuck back to give an appearance of depth. And then what I will do is on the back of the back scene here, I've got strips of 2mm light ply that I use. I'll stick those along the back with more texture papers along there to create a little bit more depth, which is what I've done at this end of the layout here on the expansion Thorn, which was the first expansion to the layout. It's warping a little, but it doesn't really, you can't really tell from down here, but it just gives you that little extra bit of 3D to it as you move around. But it is literally, you can just see it here, it is literally just MDF vaccine, light ply and texture papers on the back, light ply and texture papers on the front, and then like a billboard added for extra depth. So back down here, that's Handy Company as it comes. It's still a work in progress. I've still got a lot of work to do on it. Still needs a fascia, a lot more workmen, detailed pieces, things like that. The back scene is still a work in progress, as is the Handy Company building over there. The grade crossing still needs work, as does the garage, and quite a lot of other bits. The ramp needs some safety railings, things like that. So, and here we've got the board join, which needs blending in, and this, if I stand back, is West Allen Street. Just this section here. This was the original layout. They've got the outbound loading facility for the Handy Company. Takes box cars, flat cars, that kind of thing. Usually palletized loads, small metal components, things like that. It's a fuel tank there with the freight cars, fuel unloading point, scratch built rail bumper, stop cars running over the edge. That is simply soldered rail. Here is essentially like a little capstan system. It's like a winch and pulley. The chain's not on it at the moment, because I've been working on the layout. I need to sort of blend these bits in together. But what happens with this is, originally this kickback spur here, you can see where the three-way switch was. This was originally a sector plate, hidden sector plate storage yard. So to switch the layout, everything had to be done from the back. The locomotives had to be at the back. They had to shove the cars onto the layout. So there's no way to get cars to where the boxcar is at the building here. So what I did was set up the capstan chains. There's another one there. And what happened is the locomotive shoved the freight cars into the spur here where the bulkhead flat and the covered hopper are. The crews would hook a chain onto one end and the other so that they could be pulled both directions, and then you just pull on the chain here manually, as I believe it adds to operations, and it tows the freight cars along into the spur. Originally here there was a large sort of factory building used to disguise the sector plate, but I've since gotten rid of that with the three-way switch being added in. So there's the handy company, the fuel unloading point and the West Allen Street team track. There's grade crossing here which leads out into the rest of the city, next to which is Davis Produce, which is a background flat building here, which takes shipments of mechanical reefers, things like that, boxcars, the occasional hopper. That boxcar is derailed at the moment, but there we go, it rolls away otherwise. So my layout room is not level, so on top of that we've got the Phillips Brothers Paint Company. Got a couple of billboards up here, but these are just sort of sat there for safekeeping at the minute. I'm not quite sure if they'll actually stay there. But let's move the boxcar out of the way. You can see the building here, which is made again from texture papers from Clever Models, and signs that I found online. Just Google search building signs and you'll find pages and pages of them. This was originally based on this design was based on the Clever Models Plant Number 2 kit, which I've always liked, but I wanted something a little bit different. I want to make it look a tiny bit different, so I figured I'd just sort of scratch build it to fit the location. I do since have that kit, which I'll be building and putting somewhere else on the layout, but you can see along here